Damn.
What? Oh, you know what? Here we go. Hello. I do not know how to describe this game. It was ugly. It was a 15-point win. It was never in doubt. It was UCF didn't score a field goal for 9 minutes or so. Brad, what were your thoughts quickly?
It just looked like a street fight.
Yeah.
Nice win. It should have been a 30-point win, but hey, we'll take it. It got really, really. It wasn't good offensively, but it got really, really ugly in the last 10 minutes, 10 minutes after they finally scored their first shot from the field.
Yeah, they really started trying after that, didn't they? That's a shame. Galen, what you got?
I thought we had to do a good job of kind of neutralizing their height. UCF always has good positional size as opposed to us. We're traditionally undersized. So I thought that we kind of had to neutralize that aspect of their team. And I thought we kind of, for the most part, we did a good job of that.
UCF rebounded a lot, but that comes when you miss 37 shots. They hit 7 field goals, and I think 3 of them were in the last 5 minutes. And they were not good. And that was a shame. I have been inundated with UCF fans all day today. Just, but that stopped at 1 o'clock. It's just, I don't know if the internet went out in Orlando or what happened, but it stopped around 1 o'clock and it just never picked back up. A good win with the last 10 minutes seemed like the last 10 minutes were bad. But when you're up like that and UCF has no life, you rest till you can rest and get ready for Provo. And I mean, the next 9 days are brutal. You go to Provo, you have Kansas State at home, an 11 a.m. game Saturday. And then you have a trip to Austin a week from Monday. And, that's 3 quad 1 games right there in the next 8 days.
One thing I will say is that when you have 2 good, sound defensive teams, it's going to be an ugly offensive game because nobody's going to be able to score against that type of half-court defense. It's going to come out to which team is able to get more stops that leads to offense. And I thought that was the differentiating factor. Like, I feel like the difference between us and them, like, obviously we were able to get some type of offensive flow, but when we got stops, we were able to get out and run and capitalize on those stops, whereas they had to – we did a good job of recovering and making them earn everything on the offensive end.
Yeah. I thought U of H got a lot of good looks in the first half. They just didn't hit any of them.
Yeah.
And otherwise, it could have been a rout. We have some exclusive game footage. We're going to look at that right now. And then, Galen, I want you to break this down. You're the basketball expert. We're just not. Break this down for us. Speakers on.
Javonte Cook back into the game for the Wolves. Pass at baseline. It was knocked out of bounds. Stay down here.
But that's the way you guard the basketball right there. Of course, if you went to University of Houston, you're going to guard the ball.
Caleb
I
Robinson.
can tell you that right now.
played 136 games in his time at the University of Houston. Cook was just 3 for his last 18 from 3 coming into the night. As Robinson, a pretty finger roll.
That's the other thing you can do if you go to the University of Houston. You play physical basketball, not worried about contact around the rim.
Those guys kiss your ass as much as we do. So
Hey,
Towns
man,
and I both watched
Houston-
a G League
Houston-
game.
Houston basketball is a respected brand, man.
For
It's
sure.
a respected brand.
Absolutely.
Jody Meeks, he's an NBA vet. Had the pleasure of playing with Kobe Bryant. He's a very well respected NBA name. And I remember my first day meeting him. He was like, "Damn, you played for Kelvin Sampson?" And I was just like, "Yeah." And then I guess that was like he respected who I was as a basketball player, and kind of like my intelligence and my IQ just off of the muscle of me playing for Coach. So it's good to kind of come from that type of basketball background, and you got a coach like him who's respected in the entire basketball world.
He knows you paid your dues.
Absolutely, got to earn it with Kelvin. You got to, for sure.
We watched that whole thing, texted back and forth.
I watched G League basketball. That was the only defensive play in the entire game. Nobody else made any defensive plays.
Yeah, no.
That's just a different brand of basketball than what you watched here.
You know what's crazy though? I feel like a lot of the times when we start fouling a lot is because
are we talking G League or we?
I'm
Houston?
talking about the University of Houston. It's
okay.
We have such a mindset of not wanting to give you anything that it's almost like a panic that if you're close to getting something, you kind of don't want to. You want to just completely suffocate the offense. And I feel like a lot of times that is the reason why we might have some unintelligent fouls.
That's fair.
Mm-hmm.
Besides defense, what did each of you like of what you saw?
I just liked our grit. Those guys. They have a pretty big team. You got 6'8", 6'9" wings, 6'11". Like you got all the size in every position. You have to. Kind of have a certain level of toughness in order to bang with those guys and limit those guys to, only one shot on the offensive end. So I just liked our grit. And, I was really pleased with how LJ came out. That was the LJ that we're used to seeing. And it's always good when you know that you're going through an offensive slump, that you see that first or second one go in, and when it comes off, the follow through is good. So I think that helped him, as well as, I feel like Coach Sampson, his philosophy is, you have to every night focus on defense, because like Jamal, he had 29 last game. Today he had 10, but it's like, and nights like that are going to happen. But it's like one thing that you can control every single night is how hard you play defense and your attention to detail and your desire to win.
Yeah. I mean, Jamal rebounded the ball well. He played
Malik
defense
rebounded the ball well too.
Malik, thank God, because he missed everything within a foot of the rim.
Yeah. He could have some highlight plays.
Malik fell apart a little bit there at the end with a couple of dunks, and as we were trying to close this thing out, but I thought he was really good,
really solid
throughout the entire game. He had 4 points in the first half, but he had a crucial tie up, forced to jump ball early on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
played good defense, did a really good job off the ball. I mean, he's showing signs of he's starting to feel a little bit better. Same thing goes for Javier Francis. I thought he looked really good, especially there were 2 times when he got the ball and his initial instinct was to look to pass, and then nobody was open, so he's like, screw it, I'll just make a post move.
Yeah. I thought Malik did a lot of good things that Coach Sampson is going to highlight on film that our program values. He did a good job of doing a lot of the little things and making a bunch of hustle plays and a bunch of culture plays.
And I guess one of the silver linings of it kind of getting really ugly there at the very end, instead of a 30-point win and you start to feel good about yourself, you only have a 15-point win, and then you're going to get your ass ripped in film the next day, because there's a lot of teachable moments there.
Yeah.
Javier Francis was 4-4 from the floor, 6 boards, 3 blocks. That kid, he played great. I was so impressed with him. So I'm sitting just down from where U of H radio and opposing radio sits during the game. And Johnny Dawkins just walked up, and he was slumped over and looked like a beaten man.
Mhm.
And they've been in Texas for 5 days now because they went to Austin on Tuesday. They've been in Houston since Thursday. And I guess they're flying back now, but he looks worn out. And that's a long flight home.
Yeah, but at least, hey, you're able to close out a 2-game road trip in the Big 12 1-1.
Yeah. I mean, you'll take that right now.
That's a good split. That's a good split for sure.
Yeah, I think you gotta make sure that when we go there, it's not going to be like this, because that team looked like they poured it all out and had nothing left for today, because they were beat from the minute it started.
All right, I've totally messed up the whole thing. Let's see if we can get it back. There we go.
There you go. Nice.
You know, we learn as we go. Comments: Wilson and Sharp left a ton of points out there. Does anybody know what the technical foul was about on Emmanuel?
It's probably one of those things where it's you got both players going back and forth, and because we have a substantial lead, he probably didn't even say anything crazy, but the ref is trying not to let the game get out of hand because, you know, it's a lopsided score. So I feel like it was one of those situations where they're kind of officiating the scoreboard instead of officiating the situation.
Yeah, it looked like he might have been jawing with the guy next to him. They showed a little replay of it, and you couldn't really tell.
It didn't look egregious at all. Like, it did not look bad.
But it looked like he said something to the referee at the same time.
Yeah.
So as soon as you direct anything to the referee, you're going to get it.
You're going to get it. And this was a kind of a slightly iffy ref crew. They were not in demand, and they needed to get their licks in.
Yeah, they got their money's worth. Another thing I would say though about Damian, I feel like one thing that I've noticed is I feel like a lot of his game is kind of foul based, like getting to the line. And you know, when he was at Temple, you know, you get the top of the offensive scouting report. The teams have been watching you. The teams watching film when you have been watching you obliterate everybody. You're getting 20 a game or whatever he was averaging. And it's like, it's easy to kind of foul bait when you have a feel because, you know, the offense is flowing through you. You know, you got a good feel of what's going on, as opposed to when you check in, you don't really know the flow of the game and you're trying to do that. And I feel like a lot of times there were a lot of looks. Like pretty much every shot that he shot, he's trying to bait a foul. And if he just rolls up and shot it normally, he'd be wide open. And I just feel like that's just a flow type of thing that I feel like that he might have to identify.
Right.
Is it something you think he should change?
I mean, it's not that. It's just you have to be able to adjust with your role, and you got to know what you're good at. So it's like a game that he might have it going off. Like I forget which game it was earlier in the year, non-conference, but he had a solid game, but he was able to kind of see a couple to go through. He had a good feel for what was going on, and then you can get to, you know, get into the line, as opposed to that being what you do first, not knowing, not having a feel for how the game is officiated or how they're gonna, you know, it's tough. It's tough to do that.
Right.
I was very pleased with the efforts of Wilson and Walker. Ramon, I thought, played pretty well. I like how they're contributing now. Ramon is always the first guy. So the team comes out 2 hours before the game. That's when the first guys come on the floor. Ramon is always the first guy. And he's out here and he's doing a 2 feet on the ground shooting drill just to try to get his flow. And now you can probably hear Johnny Dawkins behind me doing his press conference. They pipe it into the arena. But you know, Ramon does as much work as anybody else in this program. I mean, he's really worked his shot, trying to improve that and trying to get himself into the flow. And I mean, it seems to be working.
Man. I feel like Ramon, he understands the importance of just being prepared, because whenever he's definitely going to get an opportunity, and he's the type of guy that when he when he gets his opportunity, he wants to be ready for it. And that's just a testament to our program and our guys knowing how important it is to being able to the importance of putting in that extra work so you can be prepared for when your opportunity comes. Because we know one thing's for sure, he's going to play hard, he's going to make hustle plays, he's going to make the culture plays. If there's a 50-50 ball, he's going to be first to the floor. But you want it to be whenever Jamal or LJ or even on the kickouts from offensive rebounds and the ball gets swung to you, you're in that corner, you want to be able to knock that shot down.
Okay, he played 24 minutes against Penn. I was thinking this might be his most minutes, but no, he played 24 against Penn. But he played good minutes today, you have to be pretty happy with that. What do you think Kelvin saw that needs improvement today?
Fouls.
I'm going to say fouls and also that last 5 or 10 minutes. You've got to be able to have an offense when Jamal Shead's not on the floor.
Yeah.
And, you're working through that still. You don't have it. But I think that's going to be the thing that he focuses on. There were 23 fouls. That is a lot.
23, that's a lot. It seemed like every possession, the whistle
in the
was
second
blowing.
half, UVH got called for a ton.
It's like, damn. Can we see some?
16.
Can we see some down and back, please?
Yeah. It was 16 fouls on UVH in the second half, which I just found mind-boggling.
I think most of them came after the 10-minute mark.
Yes,
Yeah.
10 or 11 minutes right in there.
It's like, guys, let's go. Everybody's the bus is ready. These guys want to get out of here.
UVH was 3 of 6 on dunks, which is pretty hard to do. Shoot 50% on that shot.
I think from within 3 feet, we were not very efficient.
No.
Neither were they.
I think we missed probably like maybe 5 or 6 from inside the arc. In the first half.
No, the two teams were 3 of 7 and 4 of 10 on layups. So 7 of 17. That's not great.
Hey, man, 2 good defensive teams, man.
Yeah.
Those shots look easy, but they are not.
Well, I don't think anybody thinks they're easy, but the efficiency should be a little better.
Yeah.
The guys are all coming out of the locker room. They've showered and dressed, and they've got mysterious food boxes. I don't know what that is. I don't know what they got.
Post-game meals.
Like some of the efficiency minutes, attitude, and effort from Wilson Francis. Hope he's able to travel and show up in road games. That's really the whole deal right now. Is what happens in Provo? Does this team show up ready to go? If they shoot it like this, they're going to lose. But I don't think BYU is quite as intense as UCF.
It's hard to breathe up there, though.
Okay, have you played many games in altitude?
Yeah, I played a lot of games in altitude. A lot of games.
Okay. What is the difference? Obviously, it's a different kind of breath, but what else do you think is different?
I remember when I was playing in Mexico, I think the elevation was like 7,000 feet.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that. And I just remember like I'd be talking and like I'd lose my breath. And I'd be like, damn, like, am I tripping? Like, then I asked one of my teammates, they were like, bro, we're over a mile in the air. I'm like, well, shit, that explains a lot. It is hard. It's like that. You got to get that first. You got to get your second win. You got to, especially when you're not used to it.
Okay. I was about to get ejected, but the lady was very nice to me.
Shout out to her.
Shout out to her. She was very kind. See, you're too young to have a globe. We used to have globes, and the parts that were elevated, it would be bumpy. And so y'all don't have that on this internet.
Yeah.
I felt like it had a potential to look really sloppy today.
And
Jamie, always there. Galen, have you played in Utah? Oh, well, this is just how will it affect defense? That's interesting.
Shit. It's
Okay.
we played
Galen
against
says
BYU. We played against
That's right.
BYU, I think,
You
my
did.
senior year, and it was. I do remember, like, after that first, Coach, I remember what he told us to
Y'all
warm
beat
up
them
hard.
there, right?
Yeah. But he told us to kind of warm up hard to kind of, get that first win out of us, and it didn't work. But it's like that after you kind of got to run some oxygen in you. You got to just get it up out your system. But it's definitely difficult. You probably will see a lot of. If it's a fast break, a guy probably won't chase him down, because it's probably going to be winded. But hopefully it won't be a problem for us. Hopefully it won't decide if we lose.
Right.
Y'all beat them there, and then they came here and won on that last second shot. That guy that was prematurely balding.
TJ
I think
Hawes.
there was a carry. If I recall, U of H carried with like 5 seconds to go, and they came down and hit a little jumper and won it by 1. BYU likes to draw fouls when driving and down their jumpers. Play smart at their place. Yeah. How do
I
you
remember it was one play where the guy was guarding with that game-winning shot. His name was TJ Hawes. Him and like the opposite wing, they kind of ran under the rim, hooked each other's arms, and went the opposite way. And the ref called a foul on me. And I was like, I was nowhere near the play. Like they grabbed each other. Like they really do try to foul bait you, especially out there at BYU for sure.
You get called for them square dancing.
Yeah,
Man.
that's what.
And I was just like, I was like, you have got to be. You got coach Galen. What the heck? I'm like, you'll see it on film. That's my case.
Yeah, that's a hard one to win in the huddle, though. Yeah, you'll see it on film, Coach.
Yeah, see it on film for sure.
Yeah, just trust me. Yeah. So
I'm about to have to wrap up, y'all. I gotta head to the gym for my own game.
This you don't need that. We've got everything right here. What time do you have to be at the arena?
4:05.
Okay, so you probably should be going pretty soon.
Yeah. But we live like 5-10 minutes away. So
wow, he's actually leaving.
Man,
I'm
like hardly
jumping
home, but I'm always repping. Got to stay with the gear, man. You got to stay with the gear on game days. We wear substantial. God damn it. You feel me, Ryan? Pause. On game days, we wear substantial. Good looking, Galen. You heard it here first.
Exactly.
But my dogs, it's about that time. I got to catch a ride. Until next time, gentlemen.
All right, man.
All right.
Have a good one.
Take care, Galen.
Yes, sir. Likewise.
I'm glad he's gone. We didn't need him. Galen Robinson broke it down pretty well for you. What did you think? I guess it's hard to talk too much about the offense in this game because there really wasn't that much of it.
No,
but everybody struggled in that second half. It was such a chippy, disjointed, nothing really made sense. You shot 31% in the second half. Juwan Roberts is right here to my right all of a sudden, or excuse me, my left. And he's got an ice pack on. We're gonna go towards him. He's just chilling out.
He just needs to sit in for the rest of the stream.
Well, he's eating pie of some sort.
What?
Yeah, he's got pie.
Man, y'all are gonna make me go. Y'all are gonna talking about food, and you're gonna get me
I think
go,
it's
go
that
to the
sweet
store.
potato pie from Prince's, but I'm not 100% sure. This is fascinating internet TV, and I appreciate y'all watching. Yeah, he's not paying attention to me. So what do you say about this offense of what you saw with this team today? Not even tonight.
It just didn't. There wasn't a whole lot of flow to it.
Yeah.
It was a lot of stop and start, and it's like we're delaying. We're taking so long to get into the offense. We're a lot more effective whenever we jump in and start get more aggressive early on in the shot clock. But it's like we're waiting too late in the possession to really get things going.
To get moving.
Yeah, I mean, whenever I see that little 3-man weave outside the paint, I just have terrible flashbacks.
Tom Penders, baby. James Dickey.
Yeah, and we don't have somebody who's going to jack it up from the timeline.
No.
So I don't. This game seems like it was 100% focused on attacking on defense. So in my mind, I'm going to make the excuse that we left it all on the court on defense and there wasn't anything left for offense. So we'll go with that.
I can't imagine how frustrated this team was, UCF, with what they came in and had to deal with.
They definitely lost composure.
Yeah.
Especially later on in the game. I guess early in the second half, you could see their frustration. They just started making crazy fouls and not playing the way that they had played previously.
Yeah. So Jawan's knee apparently started to bother him. That's what Kelvin just said on top of me. Right. But he's walking. He's got ice on it. I mean, I don't know. He had it drained. I don't think anybody has said this, but he had it drained a week ago Monday. Right. We had a conversation Monday night that we taped and I think put it on the site on Wednesday. He left that conversation and went right into the training room to get that knee drained. It took about 3 minutes, and it was done. Right. So, I mean, he's obviously a big part of what you want to do in Provo, and I don't think they're getting a day off. I believe we have practice tomorrow that we're going to, and then they'll travel Monday and then be there Tuesday, off day Wednesday. So, but he might not really participate tomorrow. He's doing a lot less post game. So, maybe that's just what we'll see. The comments stopped when Galen left. That's kind of rude, guys. These two idiots need your help a lot more than that guy.
Well,
that guy can just
probably
talk.
Wise not asking us questions.
Yeah, but comments are good. Today's January 20th. It's 56 years since the game of the century. This photo fascinates me so much. Just how far you had to sit from this court, and yes. I mean, this is prelude to what you deal with in the Final Four now, but it was such a different beast in the 1960s. You've never seen this.
No.
And that beautiful Gulf sign, man, that is I love that thing. So, yeah. Is that it? Are we done? We have nothing to talk about?
Just one of those afternoons, man.
Yeah. Kind of waiting on Starns to get done with media, but they're taking too long. And I'm sure he's got plenty to say or not.
Well, I mean, there's like I said, the way that ended, there's a lot to go over because just looking at Kelvin, the camera going on Kelvin during the stream, he did not look happy at all for the last 5 minutes of that game.
Well, every
time they turned over to him, it was just.
Did you fall out? What happened?
No,
it was just okay. Just checking.
That was Kelvin's look the entire
okay.
late game. He was not happy one bit, which is, hey, that's for us, that's good. Instead of having to really get them to dial in, there's a lot to teach and a lot to coach, if you will. Guys are going to have probably a not real happy day after a nice win.
Do you think there's a lot of happy days in this program?
Oh yeah, I think they are. I mean,
you think they hang out and they sing Kumbaya?
Well, I mean, for what we see is not the guy that you see on a daily basis.
No,
you can't coach. You can't go hard like that at people 24/7.
Correct.
it's you've got to use it very strategic, and it's used to teach lessons and then build them up the rest of the time.
Yeah. So there's a guy working ESPN or whatever, and he's a bald guy, and he's kind of heavier, and he's got a shirt on that says, "With a body like this, who needs hair?" And I've been seeing this shirt, and I'm just like, man, I'm digging this guy. Oh, hey, comments. Let's look. Whoever they're talking smack about. So we have a guy, his name is Jamie Hollingsworth. Like him. He writes scouting reports on the other team. And UCF fans apparently don't understand what scouting report means. It means write about the other team. And they got all mad. Well, U of H says this and this. And we're like, yeah, no kidding. Yeah, okay. But that's not what this article is. This article is about UCF, not about U of H. We can talk about U of H if you look at our timeline or look at our website or anything else. We talk about U of H and what they do wrong. But that article is not the spot. So UCF fans.
Yeah, they've got a lot of always online folks.
Boy, I don't know where these people come from. It's been a while. They've been doing it for forever.
Yeah.
But yeah, what about BYU? That's a tough game. I am so looking forward to this arena. It's not one of my first two, but it's probably the third that I get to go to. Get new arenas in Austin and in Waco. I don't know anything about them, but this place is supposed to be pretty nice and loud and a great crowd and atmosphere.
The atmosphere.
I think it's going to just be it's going to be a street fight, but it's going to look a little different than this one. But
yeah,
I can't wait to go. I'm flying in day of, and U of H is 0-1 in arenas named after hotel chains at Hilton Coliseum at Ames. This is the Marriott Center. So looking to bounce back. I have not seen a basketball road win. I saw one football road win at Baylor, but I lost Rice and Kansas State and then in Ames and Fort Worth. So I've not seen a lot of road success from this school this year. Would be nice to see that and have a good something to talk about after that game. Traffic was ass getting home. What a brick fight. Brick fight's probably the best way to describe it. Yeah.
I mean, really think about how a brick fight would go. That would be kind of fun.
Well, it would probably
be
look
a real
like
brick fight.
0 of 19 from the floor is what it would look like from inside the arc. That's what I'm guessing.
Yeah.
0 of 19. They had gotten under 10% at one point shooting. That is hard to do. I sat and watched Joseph Duarte and Starns shoot after the game the other night. It was probably 12:30 in the morning. They were all punch drunk, and that was some bad shooting. But it still wasn't as bad as what we saw from UCF.
Their shooting was actually worse than Ann's a couple of weeks ago.
Yes, accurate. And much better shooter than the Central Florida guys today. Did we ever figure out who the basketball recruit at the game was today? No, I've asked around. I'm going to ask some more, but I haven't seen it. I saw a lot of high school juniors sitting with football coaches. They sit underneath us. It's like there's a plan that they're thinking about. Hey, you know what? We're going to actually be here for a while. We should recruit high school kids. And here's a thought. We should recruit high school kids a year down the line and 2 years down the line.
Yeah.
Kevin Barbay, the new offensive coordinator, stopped and talked with me for a little bit, said they wanted a nice, intimate group of about 10 to 15 high school juniors today. They had a lot of coaches out there with them. I never saw Willie, but I saw a lot of other guys, Brian Early, Shillwood, the new running back coach, Jordy, I can't remember his last name. I'm going to get there with these guys, but don't remember. But saw a lot of action out of that and was like, all right, okay, I see what you're doing, recruiting people and, wanting to build something. That's different. Jordy Joseph. Thank you, Connor. Yeah, I mean, recruiting with this program here is just so different than what you get with every other program.
Well,
They basically just pick who they want. They say, okay, we want him.
Right. When you say every other you mean like other
At this school. Every that I deal with, any program that I deal with, they recruit differently.
Right.
I mean, I am certain Kansas gets to say, okay, you, and Duke gets to say you and you, but not any of you.
Right.
But this program is the only one that we get to see up close do that. But when they want somebody, they want them.
Yeah. But it's good to see. It's good to see football. You got to lay the groundwork. You've got to build a relationship because you don't have the flash to go out and just say, hey, here's our resume. You're coming here. You're going to come here.
Yeah.
You've got to build the relationship over years. And I see them laying that groundwork on with the high school coaches, developing those personal relationships out there, whether they've got a guy that's a hot recruit today.
That don't matter.
I mean, if they have nobody there, you still got to show up and you've got to be there, because when they do have someone, you want their real opinion and not just
when they do have someone, if that's when you're showing up, you're going to get dismissed.
Right.
You can't show up just when they have somebody. And they laid a lot of groundwork in the last 4 or 5 weeks, especially this week. They got set back a little bit because you had the freeze and the cold weather. And so schools were out Tuesday, I think. So they got a late start, but they have popped and popped and popped every day since. Seen a ton of high school coaches. I was given a number. I'm not going to share it right now, but it's a much higher number than I ever heard from the previous staff.
Right.
We're going to have to stop doing this, stop comparing them to the previous staff. This is on me. This one's here because it's not the same thing.
Oh,
one is a coach that wants to build his legacy. One was a coach that wanted to build his account at Chase.
Yeah.
I never see these ESPN Plus games. Box score looks ragged. Free throws, score bug. That's what they're called. Free throws, weird again. Yeah. U of H just doesn't get calls. And whether that's you shoot too many three-pointers or how you go and attack the basket, I don't know. But you're just not getting any. LJ Cryer hasn't shot a free throw in 4 or 5 games. It's bizarre. And especially with as many shots as he takes and as much time as he plays, but he's just never getting these calls. And obviously it's about how they create shots for him, but I'm not. I've seen every dramatic Greater Houston area coach tweet about them stopping by. It surprises me because this was non-existent the last 5 years. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's no need to go and visit coaches whenever your recruiting is limited to the portal and you're doing it on your balcony from your laptop.
I don't know what that means, but I'll agree. Were the fouls even close? It was 23-16 is what I believe the number was. U of H had 16 in the second half. So it might have been close at one point, but U of H extended that quite a bit.
Let's be real though. We are fouling. We get away with a lot more than we get called.
100%.
I did think it was strange that we didn't get a couple that I thought were very obvious. Like JoJo got one called on him after he took an elbow to the chin and then took a shoulder to the chest in the exact same move, and he gets called for the foul. I thought that was strange because, I mean, he's normally a guy who's going to be fouling, but he wasn't fouling at that time. That wasn't him that time.
That's a weird defense, but yeah, I agree. It's hard to go Cougs.
It's good to see that guy back there helping UCF onto the bus.
So the students rip up the Daily Cougar and throw it in the air, right? Well,
Right.
somebody has to clean all that up. And it's a mess. I mean, it's a lot.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they're all doing that right now. We're going to get Starns to join us here in a minute. Press conference wrapped up. Speaking of. Okay, Starns, we've been on the air for 40 minutes. We have nothing to say, so take it away.
Are you serious?
Which part?
The 40 minutes part. I didn't know it was 40 minutes.
Well, it says right there in the top corner, buddy.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
Johnny
UCF
Dawkins kind of slow walked y'all.
Yeah, he did. I guess he did a radio interview first and then came.
He did. He looked beat down. Shout out to Starns.
Yeah.
Galen isn't here to do that, so shout out to Starns.
Yeah. Well, what is there that you probably guys haven't already said? I don't know if UCF had like a really good offensive possession today. I don't.
We're listening.
I don't know if UCF had a good offensive possession at all. They may have had one like towards the end of the first half, like their last shot.
Yeah, with a minute left.
Yeah, but other than that, I don't think they had a good offensive possession where they got an open shot that wasn't, like a loose ball rebound goes to the corner or a bailout shot at the end of the shot clock. And I mean, it just speaks to how crazy good this defense was today. And
Yeah.
You took care of business again at home, and now you got a tough game in 2 days and you may not have Jawan.
What did Kelvin say in the post game?
So he said second half they lost Jawan and Terrence, and he referred to Terrence again. And I asked him, and he said, was it his knee? And he said yes. And I asked if it was serious, and he said, I don't know. And then Joseph Duarte tried to ask him if he was going to be limited to anything about practice and limiting practice, and he dodged the question.
Well, I don't know that you can answer that question right now.
Yeah,
that's a weird one, but
so I think it was
Kansas and West Virginia are tied at the half at 51.
Wow.
That's
51 at the half.
Yeah, and Iowa State was up like 18, and they beat TCU by a point in Fort Worth. This conference is so weird.
Yeah, it is.
What a beatdown.
Yeah.
Did he say anything else? Yeah. Well, so Jawan walked out here while y'all were up there, and I mean, he's walking, and he had ice on his knee and eating pie. I don't know what that means, if it's symbolic, but he seemed to be okay. But I don't think they'll know for a day or so because of that knee. They drained it on Monday. They might have to drain it again. I don't know what the timetable is that you can go between, but you just never know.
And
I'm looking at the scores, and it says on the ESPN website, it says odds by ESPN Bet. Have they started their own casino now?
Yes.
They did?
Well, they went into business with Penn Gaming when Penn bought out Portnoy. That's what happened. Obviously, the Scott and Pullman Podcast guys are watching us because they just reported the same news we just did about Kansas at the half. Me and you both, buddy. Galen did the show for about 25 minutes and then just said, hey, I got to go, and literally stood up and put his backpack on and his jacket and walked out. Like, this piece, got to go. But they have a game tonight. They had to be at the arena at 4:05, and it's 4:03. So, I mean, he did not.
Yeah, he left. I think he left at 3:51.
Yeah, so he did not. He did not make a big ceremony about it. The Big 12 is tough. That's absolutely right. That's a weird tradition they started. So I think they did that when I was here. But they would get the actual newspaper. Now they just get one sheet printed.
That I make.
Well, I don't think anybody gives a shit about that. But yeah, good. That's great.
I lay that out. I printed it. I wrote the stories for it.
I'm just envisioning you
Just want
with an
my
old
credit.
timey printing press, sitting there laying ink on it, and going through the whole thing, and wearing like a black leather smock.
It's weird that that's what you chose to make your big stand with. Of all things,
I print it all manually, every single one. So before every game, I have to do it again. So it hurts my arm, but
and your hip.
You'll get used to it.
Yeah, you'll get used to it. Defense was solid, the best I've seen. I agree with that. This defense was.
I think solid is an understatement.
Yeah.
I was really hoping we could hold them to under 30, but I guess whatever you give up.
Really thought about that for a while. They gave up 50 points at the free throw line.
Well, didn't they have at 1.7 free throws in a row in one possession? It seemed like.
It was 2 possessions. It was U of H got a bad shut off in between, but yeah, they had the foul on Emmanuel, and a foul on somebody else, maybe Ron Walker, and then Emmanuel got the tech.
Right.
I'm just trying to look at what exactly is happening with poor Kansas. It doesn't look like anything crazy. Just, they talk a good game about how everybody else in this conference is a fraud, but maybe there's other people that are a fraud. I have no idea what Starns is doing.
Starns pretended like he's talking to somebody.
I am talking to somebody.
Okay.
I was called.
Like he's in demand.
Yeah. Call me.
Demand. Promise.
What else did Kelvin say, Starns? Yeah. Towns, settle down, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, he talked about. I mean, the rest of it was, it was a normal Kelvin press conference. He talked about, how defense is a consistent part of a team. Offense is not, so that's why.
Well, it's also consistent, but not in the way you would hope.
Yeah, that's sort of his reasoning for he wants his team to be consistent defensively, or he wants his team to be good defensively because he thinks that can stay game to game.
Yes.
Said offensively he's gonna swing, and he said that about LJ, who had a good game tonight, and just said, that's what shooters do. They have bad games and then they get out of it. So
yeah.
I thought he had a really good first half, maybe not quite as solid in the second. Go ahead.
Talked about Javier and just his improvement. Just, he called him a second semester guy, and that has been true. Once the second semester has gotten going, he's been fantastic, and he was great today defensively.
I think a lot of people have been down on him. But I've seen it. I mean, we see him in practice and JVR.
You point him out to me, I'll set him straight. That's my guy.
That's your guy?
I love watching that kid. I
do
love
too.
watching his development, because you just see, you go from the baby moose trying to walk on ice to a guy who's starting to get it, and his body's getting more under control.
He's still got 8 inches of elbow.
Oh yeah.
And so the free throws and everything else, there's a lot of elbow, but he's getting it. He's clicking.
Once he really realizes how much talent he has and kind of lets that take over, he can be really, really, really good.
Yeah. Do you want a guy to be good in the middle of November, or do you want him to be good heading into February? It's obvious
you have to pick or
build
choose.
and build and build, and the guy is going the right direction.
Right.
If he were going the opposite way, then definitely be concerned, but he's not. He's going the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
And
He's a
Malik
young guy
Wilson
that's just
had
getting
some nice minutes
in
today.
control of his body.
What did you say, Starns?
Malik Wilson had some nice minutes today, especially in the first half.
Yeah. We talked about Malik quite a bit. Galen is high on him. I don't know what that means. So nothing else from Kelvin, just pretty basic, normal, everyday.
Normal Kelvin,
Kelvin.
I think, aside from the Jawan stuff, which is something to monitor.
I think I'm going to monitor.
Yeah, probably have to
I'm gonna
monitor.
check that out. Yeah.
But I do think, the offense today, I felt like they were getting good shots in the first half, and they just weren't going in. And I think that's an improvement from what it was against maybe TCU and Iowa State. But it did seem like they struggled with the length of Central Florida a little bit, and
Yeah.
that's going to be an issue when they go up against BYU, who's a big team. Kansas is a big team. That's something to watch moving forward.
Galen and I
tough
talked
stretch.
about this, about how long their guards are, and he is obviously a smaller guard, and the guys he played with are smaller guards, but they were constantly, when you get in a tournament, you start playing these longer guys, and in this conference, it's every game, and so they're going to be tested for that part, especially. I was going to say something else, and I don't remember. Kansas said we were frauds.
I feel like UCF, there were like good stretches where they had like 3 guys with 7-foot wingspans just on the court together. Which I don't know how many other teams have that, but there are teams that are going to have length, and they'll probably be able to score with that length better than Central Florida did today.
Well, I mean, you can't be worse. Their length did not show very much. Coming off back-to-back road games, this is the second of their 2. They were in Austin. They bust here, and they practiced at U of H Thursday night and Friday night, and then played today. There's just no point in giving anybody any sort of a break because they're playing 2 in a row, because you do that a lot in this league. I think U of H does it a couple more times. They do it next week with Texas and Kansas. That got really loud. Yeah. Can you still hear us, Towns?
Yeah.
It's still okay? All right.
Yeah.
I agree with Yoj. Haven't
good to
seen
see
that
you, buddy.
name in a bit, but there
good
he
to
is.
See you.
I ran into Rick Giltrop today, who I hadn't seen in 15 years.
Yeah.
Awesome to see him. JVR needs to be better at dunking. This team needs to be better at dunking. They need dunking practice.
Yes.
Elvin was here, and Elvin, I'm sure, could have worked with him on that.
The more dunks, the better. That's
high
what
percentage shot.
That's the Guy V. Lewis method.
I don't know. Malik doesn't. He showed
Malik struggled.
Not that high of a percentage shot.
He did not have his best dunking game.
No, but he played well otherwise.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna give it. You gotta laugh a little bit because it is kind of funny to see him blow 2 dunks, but he'll clean that up. He's coming around. I like where he's at.
It's funnier when the game is not in doubt, and you can't obviously be missing those in a close game.
Oh, speaking of dunks, did you hear the news on Tajay Moore?
I did.
Yes, he got a 10-day contract.
Got that 10-day contract with Portland. Good for him, man. I love watching that guy.
He
so
was
much fun to watch.
Fantastic to deal with too. Just a cool guy. What does a 10-day contract pay? Do y'all know?
Don't know.
I'm just curious, like what the.
I had that written down to ask Galen about that and how the 10-day contracts work. I guess we can get to that next game.
Yeah. I mean, you get a lot of per diem money. I would just hoard all that and eat at Arby's. Yeah. So
don't say Arby's, dude. I'm starving.
that's a U problem. West Virginia's up 4. That's too bad. That would be horrible to see poor Kansas lose. Guys are coming on. What's happening at Arkansas makes me sad for Tremont. Here's the thing. Tremont made a business decision. The guys on this team love Tremont. They are still tight, but he made his business decision. And, I mean, yeah, it sucks. But he made his call. They moved to somebody else. It is what it is.
No, I mean, I can understand it.
No, 100%.
Sometimes guys need to change their scenery. He's playing in a completely different system than he would be playing now.
Right. He's the man.
He's not going to get as many shots. He could be the guy here, but he still wouldn't get as many shots as he's getting in Arkansas because they play a different style. And they actually play more to his strength in that he's going to get a lot more one-on-one isolation than he will in a situation like this. And that's not even getting into potential as far as NIL goes. I'm sure he's got more there.
Right.
I wish him the best. I think he's a great
player. No. Don't take it the wrong way. I'm not saying anything bad. From an individual production standpoint, I think he made a good decision. It was right for him, and it's not going to kill us. Right. They did not have a problem moving on. But yeah, we'll get to that. Tremont scored 18 today. I don't have the shooting stats or anything in front of me. 6 of 13. I mean, you're not getting 13 field goal attempts here. And from what I have been told about the NIL program there, he's all right.
Yeah.
So BYU and Texas road games coming up are going to be hard. I'm going to tell you something. Kansas State at home is going to be a fight. That is not going to be the easy one in between 2 road games. Kansas State is really good. Jerome Tang is proving to be a great coach. They lost their best player for reasons that don't really make sense in December or November, whenever that was. I think December. And they just cruise right along.
Yeah.
And so,
well, I mean, let's be realistic. There's no road game in the conference that is not going to be really, really difficult. They're all going to, even when we go to UCF, it's going to be difficult. It's not going to be the same.
Oh, well, they're going to be
UCF
pissed off
we
too.
Normally have.
Dan says I couldn't log in till now. Did you remove the Godfather for being intoxicated while on air again?
No, we would encourage him more.
So I must be the dumbest person in the whole world, because everyone I've talked to since our last show was like, was Galen drunk? And I was like, no. Even friends of mine have said, Galen was I didn't see. I thought he was just having a good time. Galen's personality is exactly that way. It was really no different. The F-bombs might have been more, but his personality not any different than what you saw on that show and when I see him during the off season.
Yes.
If you removed him for anything, it was for shouting out Major Applewhite.
Well, that's certainly never going to be helpful here. And we do not encourage that sort of behavior. It's toxic to the workplace, and it is not a cool thing to do.
It hurts your soul.
Why does Bill Self look swollen and red?
Hey.
Alcohol.
It's just getting old. That's what I tell myself.
Right. Salt and alcohol.
Delicious salt.
At some point, salt affects you more as you age. And Bill Self, he's kind of a screamer. And so that red thing comes natural. But yeah. I can't believe we're talking about that, but why not? But yes, we removed Galen for hurting my feelings. No, he had a game he had to be at the arena at 4:05. So he did 20 or 25 minutes, I don't know, and then left. Just said bye. The women play here at, I think, 6. I'm not 100% on that.
Yeah.
This is their tribute to Kayla Chiser game, who passed away in 2022 in the fall. And this is kind of a big deal for them. They're hosting OU, and that's the music you hear is the women warming up. So yeah, that's what all this is about.
Dang, they turned over the arena real quick.
They really did. I mean, they have. It's
Kudos
like
to
big
them. That
crews.
was fast.
Yeah, I mean it's spotless now. They missed one. There it is. Found it. Rodney Terry. Rodney Terry gets a big win today. That nearly turned into a disaster of a week.
Yeah.
Galen didn't even know what Boone's Farm was, so I don't know if I'm really going to trust him on his fine wine knowledge.
True. After asking what flavor, what was his favorite flavor in a box?
I'm going to guess he's not had the boxed wine. That's my guess. I don't know.
Oh, that's a shame.
I don't even know if women in the suburbs do that anymore. I'm so out of that culture now.
True.
7 of 44, 15.9% shooting, which is remarkable. And they were one of the best offensive rebounding teams in the country. And they had a lot of chances to offensive rebound and were like around 30%. Just not very good. U of H did a great job on that, preventing them from getting those second chance points. And, it was a nice win. Let's take it around and do some final thoughts. Brad?
Okay. Thank you. We got the win. It could have been bigger, should have been bigger, but hey.
We're just going to stop Brad right there because he said exactly what he needed to say. Got the win. That's it. I didn't realize I could mute your microphone. This is going to be dangerous because I just saw that. I'll be damned. But I think y'all can all mute mine too. So this could be a really horrible game of chicken. Go ahead, Brad.
No, it could be. I mean, it could have been a lot worse too.
Yeah.
Because I mean, they shot terrible. We didn't shoot good. We only shot 35% from the floor.
Yeah, you shot 31 in the second half. It was bad.
Yeah, I mean, you play like that in the second half against anybody else but tonight or today, you're going to lose.
Yeah.
And so, take the win, put it on the board, and let's get ready to get back into it next week.
So Starns hurt his hip doing a kickboxing class, and we talked about him getting one of the massagers that you see Alan Bishop with. Starns is a guy right in front of you that has one of those massagers, and he's massaging himself, and that sounds a lot worse than it is. But you should run down there and get that guy. Yeah. Go ahead with your thoughts, Starns. It's loud in here now.
Yeah, we took care of business. The defense looked as good, probably as good as it had all season. But now you got a stretch of 3 road games in the next 4. And then those road games are BYU, Texas, and Kansas. And so you need to be healthy, particularly in Jawan's case. Be healthy, be well rested and prepared. And this is a practice line. You gotta get a run game. You gotta pick off at least one of these.
Are you saying one in the next 3 road games, the next 4? Okay. If you want to win this league, you need to win 2.
Yeah.
And I mean, this is probably the hardest stretch you'll have all year. These next 4 games, you go to BYU, you get Kansas State at home, which do not sleep on them, and then you go to Austin a week from Monday, and then Galen 2 Saturdays from now. I mean, we're going to go to Provo, into Austin, into Kansas in a 2-week stretch. That is not bad, at least from my perspective of getting to watch. My final thoughts are, it is really loud in here, and I can't hear anything that y'all are saying. But this was scrappy. We took charge from the minute the game started. Well, that's not fair because you didn't hit a shot for 3+ minutes. But you never felt like U of H was not in control of the game after you make that first bucket. And you get it. You go 2-0 on this road trip. You're now 3-2 in the conference, and that's a big deal. And so, you're in the right spot. You're doing what you need to do. The next 2 weeks, though, if you're without Galen, or excuse me, well, you're going to be without Galen. If you're without Juwan Roberts, that makes this next week or 2 weeks hard. And they're going to figure out what to do. I'm sure John Houston's working overtime. But that's going to be it, because I can't hear anything. And I'm sure y'all can't hear it either. So we apologize for that. Starns, no, not doing that. Okay. We don't care. I think they're talking about Galen. That's true. Final thought. We made UCF look like a middle-of-the-road AAC team, which they are.
Well said.
They lost to Stetson, y'all. They lost a quad 4 game. So can't do that. All right. Thank y'all so much. Have a great night. We'll see y'all Tuesday from Provo.